Minecraft PvP has grown to become one of the largest gaming communities in the world, branching far beyond the game itself and into the mainstream media for better or for worse. But this game, the one you're watching right now, isn't what it may seem to be. Though PvP is likely the largest Minecraft community there is, it originally was never even meant to exist. So where did it all begin? Well, in today's episode of Minecraft Uncovered, we answer just that, delving deep into the decade-long history of one of the most interesting parts of the largest game in the world. This is the history of Minecraft PvP. To truly see the beginning of what would become Minecraft PvP, we need to go back, way back. Back to May 16th, 2009, 6 days after Minecraft entered development and 1 day before it would debut as a Java applet on an online forum, Notch was touching up a demo for his aptly titled Cave Game, which was a game about building and caves. But he had plans for this game, plans to make it much more than what it already was. Among other ideas, some officially implemented and some becoming popular minigames, Notch envisioned a mode where the player would have to fight to stay alive, scavenging for food, mining for resources, and desperately trying to cobble together a basic shelter to protect yourself from the beasts that would come out at night. He deemed it the survival mode, and while it seemed to be relatively well received, nothing happened yet. Over the next 2.5 months, he focused his progress on the creative mode that was already in the game, ironing out bugs, taking suggestions, including the new name Minecraft, improving terrain, and otherwise refining the basics of the game. Come August though, he was ready to begin work on Minecraft Survival. By the 18th, he had introduced basic PvE combat, a rudimentary health system, and a simple inventory to manage the resources you've collected during your time playing. All this info came in the form of posts on Notch's Tumblr blog and short video clips on YouTube, which have all since been blocked in most countries. But after a month, survival mode was working, and at the demand of thousands of eager players, a test mode was released, titled Survival Test. Another amazingly creative name from Notch himself. But the name wasn't important, it was the game that mattered. There were 9 total survival tests released to the public, and while several are lost, I was able to find a working version of the 3rd survival test, released just 43 minutes after the original, which fixed bugs from the previous 2 versions regarding tile drops and item duplication, which is still an issue over 11 years later, but it was a good effort. While there is gameplay from all the way back in 2009 on this update, I think it might be a good idea for us to check out this early build of Minecraft Survival to see what combat was like all those years ago. This early version of Minecraft combat was much different than what we know today. The basic melee element consisted of what could be likened to modern-day sumo-tori. Weapons didn't exist, and while there was plate armor, it was cosmetic only and exclusive to the mobs since crafting hadn't even been added to the game yet. Clicking wasn't required, and holding down left click would allow you to swing your fists at a pretty comfortable speed around 5 clicks per second. There wasn't any form of natural regeneration, and similar to the popular UHC game mode, you could only heal by consuming specific foods, with golden apples being replaced with brown mushrooms that were scattered across the map, instantly healing 3 hearts each. Transportation wasn't great. You couldn't sprint or get any form of speed, so basic movement was agonizingly slow. There wasn't anything like an elytra allowing you to move in the air, and the only way to get from one aerial platform to another was by bridging, and trust me, bridging was not fun. Crouching wasn't possible, meaning you had to edge closer to the side of the ground to place a block, and hope you didn't accidentally go too far and fall off. Because if you did, you would have to noob stack back up, which would accidentally clip you into the block at random if you held down the jump or build buttons, forcing you to time each placement. Overall, the concepts were there, but they were far from polished, and it was certainly not ready to be officially added to the game and released to the public. It wouldn't be until November of 2010, with the release of version 1.2.3, that true PvP combat would come into play. Though multiplayer gameplay had been working for well over a year, it was very primitive, and combat didn't work at all, even after it was officially added to the game in single-player survival. Now, the server files for version 1.2.3 have been lost to time, and even the standard single-player version has constant crashing issues, so I can't experiment with PvP myself. Fortunately, I don't have to. With the power of YouTube, we can travel all the way back to November 25th of 2010, just 2 days after PvP was made possible. This video from Battlefield Beast has footage of what may be one of, if not the first PvP minigame ever to be played. The idea was simple, an underground stone box where two players would duel to the death. As you can see, things had changed quite a bit since the survival tests. Immediately, you'll notice that proper combat gear had finally been added to the game. Each player would get a full set of diamond armor, which wasn't stronger than any other material, but it would last longer before breaking, which was a pretty big issue in the early days. They were also equipped with diamond swords that you could automatically swing, just like in the previous versions, though the in-game auto-clicker had been slowed down quite a bit, down to just 2 or 3 clicks per second. In the second match, he pulls out a bow, and though they didn't actually deal any damage because of a bug in this version of Minecraft, you can see the bow firing rapidly like a Gatling gun when you hold down left click. Later in the video, we also see the use of healing items, with unenchanted golden apples that were added to the game back in late February, and the beginnings of flame PvP, with lava and flint and steels being used to slow down the player and deal fire damage, which would go on to become a very common theme in popular game modes like UHC and classic duels. Overall, though it wasn't perfect, you could see the beginnings of the Minecraft PvP we would all grow to love. So, PvP had finally come into existence, and it quickly caught on with the Minecraft community. PvP was slow though, very slow, and PvP could get quite repetitive without anything else added to spice it up. As a result, the true foundations of Minecraft PvP wouldn't be set in stone until September 14th of 2011, which is also around the time that a huge wave of invalid names were created, so feel free to check my video out about that if you're interested. This was the day that version Beta 1.8, also known as the Adventure update, would roll out to players worldwide. From this update, the PvP we know and love today was birthed. Bow shots were now charged, critical hits and blocking were added to melee. The auto-clicker was removed from all forms of combat, food was changed to help your hunger bar with exceptions like golden apples, and most of all, sprinting was added to the game. There were also some foreshadowing for future features, like the addition of ender pearls, which were unusable at the time, and status effects like speed and instant health, as well as some unusable ones like strength and resistance. Bridging had been updated to be similar to how it is now, with speed bridging, breezily bridging, and so on all still being possible in this early version of the game. With the unique, complex system behind combat, players would inevitably start to get some ideas of what the game mode could become. Soon, Minecraft PvP would be revolutionized forever. So, now we know how Minecraft PvP came about, but that's only the first step to understanding the intricate history behind the game mode. After all, you don't ask a friend to go play some PvP, you ask them if they want to play UHC, or Hunger Games, or Skywars, or Capture the Flag. PvP was just the foundation for an infinite number of minigames to be created over the years to come. But where did they all come from? Well, a select few early Minecraft servers would go on to revolutionize the game for good, and though most of these have shut down, their legacy will never be forgotten. So, let's start from the top with one of the earliest major Minecraft servers in existence, known simply as MCPVP. Founded on December 24th of 2010 by Curtis Welch, aka HC Luke, it would go on to pioneer not just specific game modes like Capture the Flag, Hunger Games, and Soup, but arguably this server was the launch point for Minecraft PvP's foray into the mainstream, with famous YouTubers like Stimpy getting their start right here. Over the years, the server evolved quite a bit, but by 2015, the player base had begun to dwindle and funds were running low. The staff decided to make the tough decision of selling their server to Brawl.com, who would continue to run the games from then on. Even though the original MCPVP is long gone, Brawl is still alive with a few hundred players on at a time, and the Capture the Flag game mode is still around, free to play for anybody who wants a taste of the original Minecraft PvP. But while MCPVP was the main catalyst for the growth of PvP servers, it's far from the only one. So it's time for a quickfire round, starting with Shotbow Network. It was founded in February of 2012, though I can't find a precise date, and would go on to bring various video games to Minecraft, with their signature being MineZ, a blockified version of the DayZ mod for Arma 2. The server is still running today, with many of their original modes still being available. Also in February 2012 was the creation of Kohi, on the 25th to be exact, who would become one of the largest and most respected servers for HEF and practice of all time, and even now, 4.5 years after the server shut down, it's still commonly referred to as one of, if not the best competitive PvP server of all time. But why did it shut down? Well, that leads us to our next server, Badline, founded around April of 2013. It It would grow to become another very large practice server, which would also pioneer UHC both as a dual kit and a completely separate game mode. On April 29th of 2016, Kohi merged into Badlion, bringing many of their game modes with them and reviving the pop PvP community on Badlion in the process. On June 10th of 2018, Badlion permanently closed its doors to the public, citing a lack of interest in the server and competitive Minecraft PvP entirely as their reason for doing so. They're still around in namesake, and their ever-popular Badlion client is used by millions of PvPers, but the server it was made for no longer exists. And finally, we have the Overcast Network, created in October of 2012 that would become the breeding ground for tons of classic games to be brought into Minecraft, with Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, King of the Hill, and Tower Defense just to name a few. Due to a lack of interest, the server was scheduled to shut down on September 5th of 2016, but was bought out just in the nick of time by Lifeboat Network, a name very familiar to those of you that play Bedrock Edition. For those that don't, it's basically the mobile equivalent to Hypixel, and it's been the largest minigame server for MCPE and Windows 10 for the better half of a decade. Unfortunately, it was only a short-term solution, and the server shut down on January 28th of 2017. The server returned, rebranded as Overcast Community at the very end of 2019, and it's been decently popular ever since. There is another popular game mode of Minecraft PvP, but the origins of it are rather mysterious, and it might even be worth making an entirely separate video for its full history. Of course, this game mode is Factions, and though I'm not yet sure where it started, I do know when. In early 2011, Factions quickly grew to become one of the largest game modes in Minecraft history, with a style of gameplay that was adopted in one way or another by the vast majority of PvP servers around that time, even those that didn't actually have Factions on their network. While Factions isn't as popular as it once was, it's still been around for almost 10 years, and servers like Psycho PvP and Cosmic PvP still have hundreds of thousands of active players. Outside of these more OG PvP servers, there have also been a lot of minigame servers that would go on to adopt many of the same game modes, with huge names like Hypixel, Mineplex, Cubecraft, and HiveMC coming to mind. I'd like to do separate history videos for each, and I already have a Hypixel video out on my channel from a few months back, so check that out if you're interested. By this point, the Minecraft combat system was completed. While it would be refined over the next few updates, combat would stay largely the same for 4.5 years until February 29th of 2016, with the release of Minecraft version 1.9, the combat update. Shields, dual wielding, and brand new enchantments were added, revolutionizing melee. Tipped arrows allowed you to heal teammates, poison enemies, and more, making ranged combat far more interesting. Elytras would allow for extremely fast transportation, as well as epic aerial PvP battles. However, not everything was enjoyed. Attack speed was extremely nerfed, making huge combo chains very rare to come by. PvP-related enchantments were nerfed for seemingly no reason, and worst of all, axes became the most overpowered item in the entire game, where the most basic tool, a wooden axe, would do the same amount of damage as a diamond sword that often took hours of gameplay to craft. While many of the changes brought by this update were positively received, the massive overhaul of Melee was one of the most divisive changes the game had ever seen. One of the most divisive changes any game had ever seen. This would go on to become by far the most controversial update in the game's entire history. PvP-focused servers would stay behind utilizing the 1.7 and 1.8 versions. Many modded servers would continue to version 1.12.2, the most recent version of Java that is still comfortable for coders. And vanilla servers would progress to the newest version of the game for the new mobs, blocks, items, and even the trident weapon introduced in 1.13. That is where we stand today, but I can guarantee you that Minecraft won't be like this in the future. Minecraft staff have been working on a revamped combat system since the middle of 2019, and it seems that they're nearing the end of testing, with Jeb saying that they'll be taking a break until something dramatic happens. I won't cover all the changes in detail, as other YouTubers like Waddles and SuzumaVoid have already made videos about them. But among the changes are new PvP enchantments, variable levels of reach depending on your weapon, weakened axes though they are still a bit overpowered, different levels of shield strength, stackable potions, slowed projectiles, and more. It's too soon to say whether the changes will be positively received, or whether the PvP community will have to wait even longer for a favorable update. But very soon, Minecraft combat will be flipped on its head once again. Hope you all enjoyed this video. It's definitely been a long time coming. This is another video idea that I've had since like June 2020 and hadn't actually acted on for a while. But I think that's alright because it gave me the time to research and make sure I had my facts right. I also wanted to give a massive thanks to you guys for all the support recently. At the time of writing this script, I have 7,856 subscribers, and at the time of recording, I have about 250 more. But I'm gaining over 100 per day now, and I could very well be at 10,000 by the time this video is released. It's absolutely unbelievable. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. It really does mean the world to me. Anyways, that's about it, so have a good one, guys. Peace.